So this is the last part of the segment, and I hope what you've watched so far has been encouraging. I couldn't put it all in one episode, but I hope you see why, right? And if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. I'm always happy to respond when I'm able to. But it's been a long journey. Please stick to the end and watch how this story really ends and how God comes through for me as always. Anyway, so let's talk about the NIW phase. So I realized, okay, this is my only opportunity. Bear in mind, I'm in school while this is happening. I'm in school, still working for the non-profit organization and just, paying to live in the US. And I'm trying to figure out. So you need to get some letters of recommendation, right? Which is where I was like, okay, if I really want this to work, I need to show that I am of national, like in other words, what you're trying to show, as I said, is that you're of national importance. Your work is important and is in the interest of the US. Now tell me, see how God works it out. Remember what I don't know if I told you what I was doing at that non-profit organization, but your baby girl was working it was really advising small businesses, right? So my work was really around advising small businesses, especially BIPOC owned small businesses, right? In the Seattle area, we were providing pro bono legal services, right? And that even happened. Remember, that also happened during the COVID period. And here in the US, during the COVID period, there was a lot of incentives and a lot of programs for small businesses. There were a lot of emphasis on small businesses and how to keep them running. Because remember, there were a lot of stimulus checks, PPP, different types of loans, right? And so my work, interestingly, even though while advising small businesses also, was around helping BIPOC-owned small businesses really settle during this COVID period. That included helping them find attorneys or even advising them, because I had been called to the bar, or just advising them on business programs and connecting them. So guess what happens? The fact that there is COVID, the fact that I'm in this non-profit organization, interestingly and just for some reason positions me to be in the best place, right? Really positions me to be in a good place, not the best place. The best happens along the way, right? Positions me to be in a good place to apply, right? And so that's one encouragement I'll give you. Don't give up, right? The national interest waiver is not a crazy standard to meet, right? But they do require that your work must be of, you need to prove that you're important, right? Not that you're important, but that your work, is of national interest to the US, and that needs to come from a lot of folks that will recommend you. So you need to get about letters of recommendation. I got 8 letters of recommendation, guys, and that's because God was with me through the process. I don't even know where to start from. That I feel like is another episode of how I started gathering stuff to even to gathering folks who would write letters of recommendation to me. But as I said, the fact that it was COVID, so kind of that worked out for me. The fact that there was COVID, the fact that there was all this emphasis on small businesses, the fact that I was in a non-profit organization who was providing pro bono services, all that, guys, all that disappointment, all that, the fact that it just felt like everything aligned. God aligned everything such that I was in a position to apply for the NIW. Isn't God amazing? Isn't God fantastic? So I started the process, right? But I wanted to make sure I had the best footing. I wanted to make sure that if I put in an application, I get the best recommenders, folks in government positions, that could speak to the fact that this girl is doing amazing work. Now, how do I go about that? Who do I know? Right? Who do I know? It was crazy. But it was so interesting. So let me tell you what happened. I was very active on LinkedIn at the time. And so someone reached out to me all the way in Nigeria and wanted me to speak at the program. I take up the opportunity and I'm like, yeah, fantastic, I'll take it up. I initially didn't want to, but my boyfriend at the time told me, why not? It's not like you have anything better doing, right? So I took up the opportunity to speak at that conference. conference in Nigeria. It was virtual. So I was here in the US speaking at the conference in Nigeria. And guess what happens? Someone at the US Copyright Office, I'm not going to mention any names, but if she ever watches this and she knows herself, I'm so grateful to you. God used you. But someone from the US Copyright Office happened to attend that conference. And I'm like, and that was the list of the places I expected to see someone from the US. And I didn't even know. But guess what? I finished, I gave it my best at the Nigerian conference. It was an amazing time. I talked about, I think, software and IP, right? And guess what? Someone from the US Copyright Office, I get this invitation to speak from the US Copyright Office. And I'm like, what? Right? It was crazy. But I get this opportunity to speak from the US Copyright Office, and there I am. I accept the invitation, obviously, right? I was so, my mind was blown, right? Because you never see that coming, right? I didn't see that coming. It was not something that I had said, oh wow, I'm speaking at this Nigerian conference because an American. I didn't plan that, but God did, right? And this is what I'm saying. God works it out. He uses the seemingly random events and he connects it, and it makes a beautiful story. All right, and so this is why I'm still struggling. That I haven't gotten anything figured out. There's no H1B, but I am in the process of applying for the NIW, right? And remember, as I said, you need letter of recommendations. And in my opinion, I wanted letters from like folks high up there, so that I know that this is a slam dunk, right? Nothing is stopping me from getting it when I get letters of recommendation from folks in places high up. But God made it work. So I speak at the so funny. I speak at the US Copyright Office, me, Ijoma. It was so crazy because my entire family, my boyfriend, were all shocked, right? But I speak at this international conference for the US Copyright Office, and guess what? Someone from WIPO is in attendance, and they're like, I like that girl, and they reach out to me, and I start speaking at events for WIPO. Right, and guess what I'm getting from these things? I'm getting certificates. I'm reaching out to folks in the US Copyright Office, and I'm getting letters of recommendations. I'm getting and then I end up speaking at a virtual conference in the Philippines. I was invited by the Philippines government. Yep, put some respect on it. I am a speaker. Sorry, I'm a speaker. Anyway, it was such a random thing that happened, and then I just saw myself speaking at conferences, and that's how I was able to get her to gather letters of recommendations to speak, right? So I got folks, but I also got letters of recommendations from folks at my organization, right? Because remember, I'm working for a non-profit organization and I'm helping small businesses, which is the basis of my application, right? I was also oh gosh guys, I'm sorry, but I was also able to get letters of recommendations from folks that I was working and supporting. Isn't God amazing, right? What seemed like, oh my gosh, it's a disappointment, blah blah blah, turned out to be like a fantastic miracle, right? And so this is happening in 2021 going into 2022. Really in 2022, that's when this is happening. I'm speaking at all these conferences and I'm writing articles, and guess what that is being used for? It's used for my application, right? It's used for my NIW, and it's used to strengthen my case, right? I get letter of recommendations from businesses. I get letter of recommendations from people in the copyright office, in the small business. I get certificates from the US Copyright Office, right, saying that I spoke at this event, right? So what is that doing? Obviously, this girl's work is definitely of national interest, guys, right? At the end of 2021, to be specific, December 2021 was when I put in my application for the NIW. And what, to God be the utmost glory, 2023, I got my green card, right? But there was a lot of craziness involved. So I get my... So something that happens with the NIW is you apply, and depending on how you apply, right, you get your working permit first before you actually get a green card, right? So I applied in December, and then, you know, the conversation that comes up with my company, there's a way you can expedite getting your work authorization, right? While you're waiting for your green card petition to be approved. And for some reason, someone from Congress put in a letter of recommendation for me, right? Not a letter of recommendation, but actually helps to expedite your process, right? That's the way that it's done, right? And it's because I'm working for this non-profit organization, and so I get my work authorization faster than I would usually have. Even the attorneys were really, really surprised, right? But now you see, and then I get my green card in 2023. I feel like I've really fast forwarded all through a lot of things. But this story, or this, is really about saying, God is good and God will see you through, right? And as I said, he may disappoint you, right? I didn't get that H1B, and it was the biggest disappointment of my life. Actually not the biggest disappointment of my life. I have gone through some things recently that have been the biggest disappointment of my life. But that was a very hard time for me, being rejected for the H1B. But here we are today, and God has wrapped up the story, and it's a perfect, now I'm telling you and I'm laughing, but then it was all tears, like premium tears. And so this is just a reminder that God is good. God is good even in your disappointment, and He will work it out. I know it looks like, when I was rejected, I felt like, oh my gosh, my life is ended. No, your life is never ended. It's not over until it's over. It's just immigration. Let me put things in context for you. And God is interested in your success, and God will make it happen for you, right? And so just the encouragement for anyone who is going through. That's really why I did this video. That's why I came out of my little shell to do this video. Just an encouragement for anyone who is going through a lot, either because you're an immigrant or just going through a lot in life, or even an LLM that is going through what I currently went through and was rejected and stuff like that. God is in the process. God will work it out, right? I don't know how. It might not be as random as mine was, where I get an NIW, the NIW happens and this and that all align for me to apply. But He will work it out. His hand is really beautifully stitched into the fabrics of our life, right? And so I just want to encourage you, especially in this Christmas season, be present. Find peace, be at peace. It's going to work out. Be encouraged. It's going to be fine, right? It's going to work out. Your life is not going to end. And it does pay. Right, to choose the right path, right? I could have chosen any other path. I could have done what everybody was saying, oh, you should do, and it's the only way to get it done. But my faith in God, which I told you I was going to talk about throughout this episode, but like my faith in God allowed my story to be unique. My faith in God gave me the opportunity to say, I didn't do that. I didn't marry for papers, but I have a green card, and put some respect on it. Right? But I'm just saying that to say you don't have to compromise. You don't. There are folks that want to do what they want to do, fine. And I'm not the one to tell you, oh, do or don't do. But I'm saying my belief is that if you do decide to go this path, and please, this is not to say if you fall in love genuinely and organically, or you even position yourself to fall in love, whatever that looks like, and you do fall in love and you're ready to get married. My concern is, please make sure the marriage is legit. You are actually married, because marriage for me, there's nothing like marrying for paper. Anyway, let me skip that, because I don't know, I don't want folks to come for me, but that's the truth, right? What is wrong, in my opinion, is wrong, right? And it might be hard, right? I don't want to sound insensitive to the difficulty of the situation, because I really considered it. I was back and forth, and there were voices in my ears, right? But if I can be that voice in your ear saying, you won't regret trusting God. You won't regret God writing your story, and God will see you through. Anyway, just want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for listening. I know I was everywhere, and I was up and about and telling you a lot of stories just to get to this point. But I'm going to do an episode on NIW, and I'll tell you guys how, like, the specifics of the process, like what you need to do, things to avoid, because some weird stuff happened to me while I was applying, and things that I think will be very helpful for you. But thank you so much. The channel has grown. I really appreciate all of you incoming LLM students. If you're already in the US, please be at peace. It's going to work out. Trust God, and it's going to be a fantastic 2024. And if for some reason this video is being posted in 2024 as opposed to 2023 Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and have a wonderful rest of your year. Have a good one, guys.